Sadistic Penguin Studios presents the At the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
And Tony Chalsa Burt.
I don't know this industry jargon, YP, MP, whatever, okay? All I know is that I cannot get a record contract. We cannot get a record contract unless I take these tapes.
It's almost time, so grab a drink, get your popcorn ready, and join the film discussion with two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the At the Show podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Tom Yumper Garcia, and I'm with my other co-host, Tony the Sugar Baggy Burt. How you doing, my man?
Doing good. Glad to be back this week.
As am I, my friend. I am extremely happy to be back. Whoop, there goes my camera.
Hello. Well, I still hear you. That's good.
Oh,
news.
yeah, it's my camera. So yeah, great technology, people. As you can tell, we've been off for about 3 weeks, Tone, and we still have tech problems.
Well, I'm hoping saving up 3 weeks I don't get kicked off of here. So let's hope. Let's hope.
Well, let's not jinx that. Let's hope that I have the issues, not you. But we do have a big packed show today. We are going to be talking about some sci-fi films that have maybe passed over your head, or you've heard of them but never looked into them. And you know what, man, looking at our list, I'm really excited about it because I feel like we picked some films that don't get talked about enough. I mean, we've maybe mentioned them in passing sometimes on here, but they don't get talked about enough in the mainstream like they should be. So there's some real deep dive hidden gems in there that I'm really looking forward to.
Always my favorite thing, like I'll say, is when you send me your list, because like your list is like the concrete, you know, and I'm like going to try to fill in these spots that you didn't get. And I think we always really knock it out of the park if you were to like have a film festival and play all 10 of these movies.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm really excited about it. But you know, not to put a sour note on this or make this melancholy, but there was some big news in the entertainment industry today, Tone. And that was the unfortunate news of the passing of Michael Madsen, who was 67 years old and passed away this morning, I believe. It was reported it was cardiac arrest. Just crazy that he was only 67 years old and he's gone. Probably a person that's probably been part of like my childhood and, you know, adult life of movies, just that side character that always played those side spots. Even in one of your favorite movies, you know, The Natural, he played Bump.
One of the most ridiculous deaths in film history.
Yes. You know, just somebody that's always been there that you never really, you know, you're like, wow, that guy's gone. And it's crazy that he just happened to pass. A big, you know, proponent of Quentin Tarantino films. He's also been in music videos. I mean, he was in Michael Jackson's You Rock My World. He was in what's her name? Not Nicki Minaj. What's the name of that song, Tony? You know what I'm talking about? Black Widow.
Oh,
Iggy Azalea.
Yes. I did not know he was in that video.
Yeah, he plays the main bad guy that eats like a cheese sandwich or something.
But that Michael Jackson song, I do remember that one. That's a banger.
Yeah, so really tough, man. Share some words on Michael Madsen, my friend.
I mean, Michael Madsen, you know, is it okay if I share next week?
Yes.
Next week we're gonna actually take a little bit of a deeper look into Michael Madsen and do our awesome 5 and 5, where we're gonna even look deeper into his career at some of his best performances. But I got a story. I don't have many of meeting people, but I did when I was 8 years old. Got to meet Michael Madsen at the Isaac Walton Fishing League. His dad was a part of it, and he was there actually with his sister. And I'll always remember my mom saying, "Go over there and get his autograph." And I was like, "Who is this guy?" And honestly, you may say, like, why do you remember this moment so much? Because it was like a year later that I watched Species with my dad. And he's like, that's the guy from Isaac Walton. And by God, I lost it because I could have really been like, man, real, because it was just him, his sister, and me. Like, that was it. So I have a lot of regrets in my life. One of them is that right there in the film industry of not being able to see it, having regrets in the movie. A movie regrets, what I mean is that, like, movies you missed out seeing on the big screen, an actor you could have seen. When Johnny Depp was filming Public Enemy, a lot of people around here got to see a lot of him filming some of that stuff. I missed out on that. So this being one of those regrets, he's awesome. And some of the tributes that came out today, he had a tough guy image, but deep down he was like a poet. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys, where you mentioned, just a lot of coolness to his character. We love The Sopranos. Gandolfini was another one of those guys, a guy who seemed to be very tough, but the inside, if you got to sit and talk to him, was a real innocence. So Michael Madsen was awesome and very shocking today. And even more shocking today was his manager came out and said that he actually went to the doctor last week and he got a 100% clean bill of health. So it's even more crazier that your doctor could give you a clean bill of health and you just don't know what could come.
Yeah, that's scary.
I mean, young age.
Yeah, well, they always say the good die young, man.
That is true. Left behind so many awesome movies that I can't wait to dig deeper in next week.
Yeah, so we're announcing what we're going to be doing next week early on the show. Due to this, we had switched up. We do have some ideas coming, but this is a person that, like I said, has been a part of my childhood to adult life in terms of films I watched, music videos, stuff like that. And Tony's the same way. Also a Chicago boy. He's a Chicago native, so it'll be kind of cool to go in through his career and explore his career as a tribute to him next week. So next week's show will be dedicated to Michael Madsen. Gone way too soon. So prayers go out to his family and his friends through this tough time.
Rest in peace, Michael.
Mm-hmm. And moving on, my friend, we do have a new segment that I'm going to be introducing in a little bit. But before we get to that segment, my friend, I want to go into our usual segment of what we've been watching.
That's a me. And also, what were you just watching?
So what you been watching this week, my friend?
Summer for me comes for a couple different reasons. Love summer blockbusters, and besides October, I think summer's great for horror movies. So I've been digging into a lot of horror movies. This brand new 28 Years Later just came out in the movie theater, and it's been a while since I've been like, I got to get out to the theater really and see a movie. And I went out and saw this movie in the movie theater for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'll never forget going to see the first movie theater, 28 weeks later in the movie, the same movie theater that I saw this one in, and getting yelled at in the car by the date that I took that I complain about movies too much. So I really did not enjoy the first one when I left the movie theater. I think it was because it was so ahead of its time. I just wasn't expecting it at all. But when this new one came out, I was because you had Danny Boyle directing it. You have Alex Garland writing, the same team from the first one. The trailers actually looked incredible. I thought, you know what? Let's dig in a little bit more and let's see what it is about. And I did that, and I thought it was a good movie. A lot better of an experience than I had when I saw the first one. I liked the meaning in the movie. I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson did a good time. While sitting in the movie theater, Yumper, I came to a conclusion that I finally got an adversary for our Daniel Day-Lewis discussion. I'm not saying he's better. I just think Ralph Fiennes has got the goods as an amazing actor that really can hold his own, and honestly, a lot better than the De Niro's and the Pacinos. And if you're talking about a good actor, he really did a good job in this movie. He wasn't in it a lot, but what he was in it, it was serviceable. And I'm just excited to see where the next one goes.
I would say Ralph Fiennes is probably one of the best actors that doesn't get enough credit. I loved him in Conclave. I actually thought when we did our Oscar episode, although I thought Adrian Brody was going to win, I thought Ralph Fiennes deserved to win as well. His performance was magnificent in Conclave. I also like him as the odd characters. He played the serial killer in Red Dragon, the remake of Manhunter. So he has really, really good range. He's people mostly know him from Harry Potter as, he who should not be named, Voldemort, but he's so much more in that. I really do enjoy him as an actor.
Well, like when we were talking about the Daniel Day-Lewis, I look back at like some of Ralph's earlier movies, English Patient, Schindler's List. Like these movies, aren't my favorite movies, but these movies are top notch in film.
Depressing.
Well, that's probably why they aren't my favorite, because it's not something you can just put on and watch. But you're absolutely right. Red Dragon's a great movie.
No, I would definitely put him up there in the tier. One of these days we'll do a top 10. Like we'll go to a deep top 10 of our favorite actors and go from there. Like because it's constantly changing for certain people. But Ralph Fiennes is a person that I would have to consider putting in my top 10.
But if you are interested in seeing, if you like the other entries into this movie series, this one was really good. The ending, we talked about it before about those open endings because there's another movie coming. Ending was could have been a little bit better, but besides that, I think it was worth it. They're going to do a trilogy for this one. So
was this one better than the previous installment, the 28 months later or weeks?
I actually watched that one like a week before I watched this one. I would say yes.
Okay.
Because to be fair, the one thing I will say that was awesome was Danny Boyle went another way of filming that I had never seen before, which is he used iPhones the whole entire time, which it gave it a whole new feel out there. And like I said, not being a fan of that original one to coming to like it, and then really I thought this movie was a good it just isn't going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It isn't as much scary as it is like makes you think, I guess. It isn't like a straight up horror movie. But
well,
I don't think but
yeah, I don't think the original was scary. I think it's more of a to be honest with you, the whole concept of having rage as the thing that's turning these people, into monsters or zombies is kind of like an interesting idea, but I mean, it's kind of way out there. I just like the way it was shot. I love the thing that captivated me to the original was the isolation, the shots by Danny Boyle when he's walking the streets of London, the people who like his parents who committed suicide, just to live, not be turning into one of those things. Just the stuff like that. The fact that people had to sacrifice other people that got bit. That's what really turned me on to. And then the characters. The second one, I liked it, but it would not. The original just kind of. The original was so good, and I understood that, but I'm hoping this film, and from what you're telling me, it's really getting me excited to see, because I know they were saying we did it at the mini show. They were saying Cillian Murphy was supposed to be in this film, and then they're saying he's not, and now they're saying I don't know. Don't tell me if he is or not, because I want to see it. But if you're telling me it's good and he's not in there, that's even more incentive for me to watch it.
Again, it's back to when you could get guys like, for me, Ralph Fiennes to sign up. You're like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, this has got to be at least pretty good. I mean, I went back home and rewatched The Menu because I saw him in here. I love The Menu. I love the way he is in that movie. But again, I think knowing you and how you enjoy movies, I think you would enjoy this movie for what it is, which is just it's a good movie. Even you could put it in the horror category wherever you'd like to, but it's overall just a good movie. So the sequel, from what I believe, is coming out in January. So there, it's already filmed, in the bucket, ready to go. And then, which they got a different director for that one. And then Boyle's coming back for the third one. So they did pretty good on this movie, but that's it.
Yeah, that'll make you a cheeseburger. What else have you watched, Tom?
Also watched, was like I said earlier, packing away some DVDs, and I found my Creep Show. Now, before we get into this, me and my buddies used to have this argument. You see these DVDs when they used to have this plastic thing right here?
Mhm.
We used to argue because when you set up your DVDs all in a row, they kind of stuck out further than the normal plastic ones and could cause some trouble. But now that I'm older, I could care less. And as it says on the front box, the most fun you'll ever have being scared. I don't know if I've ever been scared watching this movie, but I can't tell you, it is some of the most fun that I've ever had. Let's just get started by saying the real reason I put it on is that every year, this is how me and Katie celebrate Father's Day. I have to watch that first sketch with her. So actually, I had this watched back when Father's Day happened a couple weeks ago. Just so many great performances and so many great little sketches. And to be fair, if all movies could just be like Creep Show, I think I would be. I would enjoy every movie that had ever been made, even though they have made a lot of types of movies like these and they're not very good. Creep Show is just a really awesome movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've done a Creep Show dive, not a deep dive into it, but like we talked about on many episodes of the show. The first segment I know is your favorite. My favorite is actually The Crate. That one's one of my favorites.
Crate's good.
And then the last one was always one that was the most disgusting one with the bugs. But just awesomely done. Tom Savini's on there, with his makeup. You got Stephen King acting, as the hillbilly guy.
I love the Tom. I forgot his last name from Halloween 3. He's the dad. And he's like, that's why he just the way he talks to his son, just the way he acts and is ridiculous. It's a cool movie because in all these sketches, hopefully when it comes out closer, Leslie Nielsen, Naked Gun. But also, you have what's his name? Stephen ridiculous as Jordy.
Yeah. Just what we're saying.
Just
Meteor shit. Tom Atkins is his name, the dad. And to be honest, Brian, my favorite short isn't in the first one. He says, "Thanks for the drive, lady." That's actually my wife's favorite, and that's actually from the second movie. That also has that horrible what's the stuff in the river or whatever it's called? Which it's funny because we talked about this like off air and before, like with just another text. Like the fact that guy wants to have sex with that woman when that tar is killing people like out of nowhere, and then he just literally sacrifices her. It's just ridiculous.
Well, these movies, honestly. These movies are tops for me because they're just so much fun. Like if the three of us sat down and watched these movies together, I don't know if you could say a funner time this year. It's just a great time watching these movies.
Yeah, man, it's crazy that you're doing horror movies because I'm actually watching a lot of horror movies because in October I do the 31 days. So I like to make my list up and look at movies that can be on there or kind of like not make the list and hold them over for the next year. Yes, I do plan in the future if I don't kill myself doing it this year. But I don't put them for what we're watching because I want to kind of reveal them when we do the 31 Days of Horror. But I do watch a lot of horror movies during, the summer because that's just a way for me to knock out those movies. And they're my favorite genre of movie. But awesome 2 movies to watch, man.
What have you been watching, my man?
So I went to an old reliable, a film. I had the week off from work this week. Was doing a lot of stuff for the website and just other random stuff, I had to get done for personal use, for me. But I went to old reliable to have on the background, and that is Rounders. One of my favorite gambling movies, if not my favorite gambling movie. I was really, really into cards. I used to play cards like ever since I was young. I was into the big Texas Hold'em before the Chris Moneymaker blow up. I was in it before that. I played in college, played casinos, kind of like watered down and kind of backed off a little bit more recently since within the past 10 years because I don't have time to dedicate to the game like I used to. But Rounders is like that film that kind of put was pre-poker boom, and then kind of led right into the poker boom. That was the Chris Moneymaker one. You have great actors in Matt Damon and you know John Turturro. You have Edward Norton in the film. Um, just an awesome cast of characters in there. Martin Landau. The story is great. I love the narration of the film. I love the music of the film. The score actually I really like. I actually bought the CD when it came out of the score from Crow's Nest uh, back in the day. But one of my favorite films. What do you think about Rounderstone?
Again, up there. Great movie. Recently, like last year, it was on TV a lot. Me and it was on Showtime a lot. Me and Katie probably watched this movie 10, 15 times. I'll talk about something that I like a lot, and that's John Turturro's quiet performance. The way he and Damon, they talk, especially like the last conversation that they have. When he pretty much is like, I gotta turn my back on you, it feels real. It doesn't feel like a movie. And sometimes I haven't been the biggest Matt Damon fan, but he does a really good job in this movie. I really like Grandma from The Sopranos. He's ridiculous in the movie.
Yeah.
But Edward Norton, again, a great performance all around. The question I was always going to ask you has Jen ever found your gangster's role? That's like the favorite line in the movie where she's like, I found your gangster's role. Great movie, man. You've also gave me another dream. I can't wait to play poker with you one day.
Yeah. I play poker a lot. Not anymore. Brian asked me, you ever see Matt Damon talk about Malkovich's outlandish over-the-top accent when they first started? Yeah. I think I've told the story on the podcast, but have you heard this, Tone?
Yeah, it's a great story. Really good story.
Yeah, for those who don't know, basically Malkovich is coming in to film his scene as Teddy KGB. Everybody was like all excited about it because it's John Malkovich, and Malkovich is like running high with his acting credits at the time. And Matt Damon says that when he sat down to do Teddy KGB's accent, he just made this ridiculous like accent voice, and everybody thought it was magnificent. And he leaned over to Matt Damon and said, "I'm a really terrible actor," which kind of like set them off on good good terms. But yeah, John Malkovich, good dude. But Rounders is a classic, man. It's like I said, it was right before the big poker boom. Another film that goes into the poker universe that kind of like plays off the boom is Lucky You, which is more of a love story,
Good
but
movie, though.
it does have a lot of poker in it with what's his name? You know what I'm talking about. He's from
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana. Thank you. Jeez, my memory's from. Yeah.
Amen to You, Yumper. That was one of my mom's favorite movies for some reason. She loved that movie. But it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
And Tom
not
Hagen's
as gritty as this one, but good.
No, not as gritty. More of a, like I said, love story, but does have a lot of like stuff in terms of how gamblers are, like when he plays golf for the money, or the guy who gets fake breasts. Those are real stories that really happen in, Vegas to certain people that did it to make money and, a bet because they were so addicted to betting. But yeah, it's not a great film to watch. But to end my what I've been watching is a movie where Artie Lang was kind of normal. And you have Ralph Macchio. It's a low budget film. It's called Beer League. Not the greatest film. It does have some funny moments in it. My favorite character from the film is Dirt, which is the old man. Have you seen this film, Tone?
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time. I had a friend who really, really liked it a lot. He was into baseball. He actually said this was a great baseball movie.
Yeah, the character of Dirt that's in there. It's an older gentleman who plays him. He's played by Seymour Castle.
Oh,
he is fucking hilarious. But this film has a lot of people that are pretty big in other films. Like, I mean, you got Ralph Macchio as from The Karate Kid. You got Cara Buono from The Sopranos. You got Joe Lo Torriglio from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and other films. He's in there. Laurie Metcalf plays his mom. Oh, my son's in the background. What's up, buddy? He's upstairs somewhere. Okay. My son came to see what I was doing. Just a lot of you got Frank Pellegrino in there, who plays the boss in The Sopranos, the FBI boss. Just a whole bunch of people from The Sopranos, and even Tina Fey's in there, which is hilarious. But not it has some funny jokes, but then some like ones that don't really hit that well. But it's pretty hilarious. I watch it as a kind of a one just to toss on and do whatever I'm doing and have it on in the background. But if you haven't seen it, it's on Prime, so check it out.
Definitely. I'll have to look back into that. It's been a while.
Yeah. So that's what we watched this week. Let us know what you've watched over at the Show podcast on Twitter, or let us know in the comments, or let us know on Facebook at the Sadistic Penguin Studios. Yes, we do have a Facebook. But Tone, before we go into the movies, I thought of a new segment.
Ooh, I'm excited.
And since this we've been thinking of new ideas here, I thought of this segment called The Back of the VHS Box. So let me play this little intro and then I'll tell you about it.
The back of the VHS box. The back of the VHS box. The back of the VHS box.
So what this segment entails is I am going to read a description of a movie from the back of a VHS box that's going to be a little, tweaked a little bit to kind of hide and give little hints of what the movie is. And Tony is going to guess it. Now, this week, we are going to go into 1990s, Tone, so I will give you that hint. But let's go into the film and see if you know what it is. All right?
All right.
In a future where corporations own everything, including your bathroom breaks, one man discovers the forbidden truth. Capitalism sucks. With a sidekick named after a dog, food and villains made of slime, it's up to him to save freedom and his bowel movements.
Wow. That was Can you read it one more time?
In a future where corporations own everything, including your bathroom breaks, one man discovers a forbidden truth. Capitalism sucks. With a sidekick named after a dog, food, and villains made of slime, it's up to him to save freedom and his bowel movements. Now, this is going to throw you off because it says man, but the main character is a female. But the dog and the slime should get you. It's from the 90s.
Oh, damn. Can you give me there's no more hints I get besides that 1990s movie? That's it. Come on.
It's a flop.
Well,
A big flop.
Is the actor who stars in it a famous actor?
Not a famous actor, but she did have a career from a previous film in the 90s that made her big. And this is like her second film after it, where her career kind of started to wind down because of this choice.
Oh. Is it a one-word title?
No.
2 words?
Oh, yeah. 2 words, how?
It's not Tank Girl, is it?
Yeah, it is. Tank Girl, you got it.
Ironically, number 1, it's hilarious because me and my mom were at the mall and we got stopped at the same time period to watch trailer, and they'd give us some money, and this was the trailer we watched. But I appreciate it because it was if you didn't give me the girl for guy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I thought of her, I thought of Point Break for some reason, and then I came to my conclusion.
Yeah, for some reason when I was looking into doing this, it was saying that it had man, but I didn't understand what it meant. But I guess it was trying to be more conspicuous. It's Brandy's favorite movie. Oh my goodness. My
Yep,
goodness.
that was hard. Yep, I was sweating there. If you didn't give me the 2 words thing, I would that was my only guess.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
I gotta rewatch that movie. That's
It's
a good
such a-
soundtrack too.
It's a great soundtrack. I love Brian's guesses here: Steel Magnolias, Celtic Fried, and Dutch.
Celtic Pride. I love this segment though. That was cool.
Yeah, so we'll be doing this every week, just to have you kind of like a fan interaction.
Yeah.
And yes, Lori Petty's finest home next to Free Willy, obviously.
Another Free
That's-
Willy alumni with Michael Madsen.
Yeah, she also was in one of our favorite films. She was actually cast as a lead character as the Sandra Bullock role in Demolition Man, and just the chemistry with Sly, I guess, didn't work, and she dropped out.
Sad.
So, but that is our segment for the back of the VHS box. Tell me what you guys think about it, if you liked it or not. If we do, we can continue doing that. But getting to the main event, Tone, getting into the meat and potatoes of the show, we're gonna dive into some sci-fi films that you probably slept on. Some films that you might have thought that isn't sci-fi, but actually it is sci-fi. They do have sci-fi backgrounds and sci-fi storylines with it that are kind of crazy and that they don't get talked about a lot, Tone. Are you ready to dive into this, my friend?
Let's dive in.
All right, let's go into our first one. That scene always cracks me up. 2000's The Cell, directed by Tarsim Singh in his directorial debut. His other films are Jirajasi, Mirror Mirror, Immortals, and The Fall. The film stars Jennifer Lopez, Vincent D'Onofrio, Vince Vaughn, and Dylan Baker. It had a budget of $33 million and a box office of $104 million. So this is one of my picks. This film doesn't get talked about when we talk about sci-fi because most people think of it as a horror film. But in reality, the concept of the film is sci-fi, as they're going to somebody's dreams using science and a machine to go into people's dreams, and while they're in a comatose state. This film, now people who know me know I'm not a huge Jennifer Lopez fan. I like Selena, Out of Sight, Anaconda, and The Cell. Those are my 4 movies I like from her. I don't think she's a particularly good singer or actress. And in this film, to be honest, her acting is pretty bad, as well as Vince Vaughn's acting is pretty bad. But taking that away and getting into the concept of the film, Vincent D'Onofrio, his performance in this film saves this film. It makes it creepy. I love the way they have the dream sequences or when she's in his mind. It reminds me a lot of Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street vibes when you're going through Freddy's mind. It also plays a lot with, it was influenced by Seven with the noir kind of setting of a serial. You think you're watching a crime movie when this film first starts, which I thought was really, really cool. And then it kind of goes into the surrealness of the, going into the comatose state and trying to figure out, where this girl is that they're trying to find the serial killer is in a coma from. But, like I said, Vincent D'Onofrio's acting is excellent. It got so scary that even his wife, wouldn't let him sleep in the bed for 2 weeks after she saw his performance in this film. He plays a creepy guy, and he kind of looks like Anton Chigurh a little bit with his hair. Which when I was watching, I rewatched it today. It was nominated for best makeup for an Oscar. It's just ridiculous, but it still holds up to today, man. A lot of creepy scenes. Oh, have you seen this film, Tom?
Have I seen it? We went to the theater to see this movie. Oh my lord, I'll never forget. It's just me and a couple friends walking out, and it was like, what did we watch? It was like that. It was that out there. But like, to be fair, everything that you described, it's one of those movies that, again, I think it was because it was just like young, naive, sober mind. Now this movie's just like this giant, it's a giant trip, really. And it reminds me of movies like Nightbreed and like movies that are very Clive Barker type stuff is really kind of, the movie gives me some of those vibes when they go in that world. For some reason, I don't know why, there's some real cool visual stuff like Pan's Labyrinth in this. I thought was very interesting. It gets lost in the fold. And again, earlier I brought up that box with the Creep Show. It had one of those boxes too. I always remember because when I worked at the pawn shop and they had used DVDs come through, so many cells would come through. Because I just think people didn't they were expecting something else from her, when the reality is it's a really out there movie, and it's actually sits pretty nicely in any actor's filmography.
Yeah, just it's crazy the concept of it. It's something different. Very graphic too. Her
Right.
J-Lo's finest movie, Enough. The funny thing is, talking about Sandra Bullock, she was actually cast as a lead in this film, and she passed it up to go for Mrs. Congeniality, which kind of both launched their careers. And for Enough, which Jennifer Lopez got, that's another film that Bullock was cast in that she turned down. But yeah, this is, and it's kind of funny because when I was watching it today, like they have to show the J Lo body. She's in a scene where she's just in a shirt and her underwear, which makes no sense why. And she's smoking a blunt, which is just like what?
I really you brought up some of her finest performance. She's actually really good in Oliver Stone's U-Turn.
Mhm.
But again, these are early performances. I mean, we're 25 years. I mean, how long away are we from this movie? They're over 30 years, coming close to 30 years with 97, 98, this movie came out,
Yeah.
It's these movies are Selena's a long time ago. So like, again, maybe she should try to tap back into these type of movies again.
Definitely. I mean, she's just out there collecting rings. So
Well, that's
I mean, what are you gonna do? She's out there collecting rings.
visually
But
great movie though. Vincent D'Onofrio, awesome.
oh yeah, he is so excellent in this film, and it's oh my god, it's so creepy. It's another like it's a horror slash sci-fi film that deserves a lot more credit because it explores things that it was to me. It's like the Interception before Interception, like before Christopher Nolan. It gives you, even though the graphics aren't, you could tell they're dated a little bit, but they're not to the point where it's just horrible. It's not like Werewolf in Paris, American Werewolf in Paris. It's bad.
Bad graphics.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these directors and visual artists on these movies decided they were going to jump headfirst into a technology that they didn't. That I don't know if did they not think it was going to date, just like everything else, like because there's a lot of movies that also came around the same time that don't look as dated. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I can't. There's not so much more I could say about it without going to like. This would be a great film for a psychiatrist or a psychologist to break down. Just the aspects of what they're seeing. I mean, there's a lot of throwbacks to paintings and psychology. And as most people know, I started off with psychology, so I kind of like was drawn to it. But it's just a lot of creepy stuff going on. And there's a lot of stuff with symbolism and horses, and it's just crazy. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you guys to watch it. Now you can rent it on Prime for $3.99, I believe, or you could buy it for $13. It's definitely worth the price. It's one of the few movies that she doesn't annoy me in. But definitely check this one out. But with that, Tone, let's move on to your pick, my man.
I'm the original Sam. I'm Sam fucking Bell.
Hey.
Me.
Whoa.
Me.
Gertie, am I a clone?
2009's Moon, directed by Duncan Jones, who directed Mute, Warcraft, and Source Code. The film stars Sam Rockwell, Kevin Spacey, and Dominique McElligott. The film had a budget of $5 million and a box office of $9 million. Tone, tell me why you picked Moon.
There's all different kinds of sci-fi. This one to me is very deep. It leaves you, for me, really thinking about a lot of different things. Sam Rockwell, we've talked about him before on the show. He's a great actor. In this movie, I think the emotion in which he displays in the main character, he does a great job. And I just think, again, Duncan Jones, if you are not familiar, that's David Bowie's son. It gives a really cool vibe to the movie. and not to give him any props, because besides his acting, Spacey does a fine job as the robotic voice that listens to is talking with Rockwell throughout the movie. I don't want to give away too many twists, but the twists I found to be pretty awesome. Again, you think you're sometimes bigger than actually you are in a system where you're just one of many sometimes.
Yeah, this film, I can't like express enough how much of a good fucking actor Sam Rockwell is.
Mhm.
Like he this film, the concept is very, very interesting, but the Sam Rockwell, for anything he's in, I'm just drawn to. Uh the film Choke, which got panned,
Great movie.
by certain people, but just his performance in it, like really, really wanted me to, got me to watch it. His performance in The Green Mile, his he does like his small role, even in Charlie's Angels Part 2, like as the villain, his dancing that gets
Mhm.
remembered, like just stuff he does is awesome. He's a phenomenal actor, and him playing like him arguing with himself or his clone in the scene I just played is great. He can adapt to anything. He can be comedic, he can be tragic, he can be menacing, and in this film he's kind of full of himself. But I get a lot of Space Odyssey
Yeah.
vibes in this film. I get a lot of Alien vibes in this film as well, which I think is kind of what they're going for in terms of just the give you that kind of feeling of what you're in store for. And then he calls people Ridley, so I'm guessing like Ridley Scott as a person that they're kind of using as like kind of get your mind thinking of Alien. But this film is great. It's a film that I haven't really heard about. I actually watched it for the first time this week, Tone, because of you, but putting this on there, and I was really, really into it. Who's better, Sam Rockwell or Barry Gordy's son of Rockwell?
Somebody's watching me.
I don't know, man. Sam does say people are watching him.
You brought up Choke.
Mhm.
I came up with Choke just like you came across Moon. I mean, I just heard Rockwell was in it, and they were. It was when I think one of the video stores was closing. It was when Blockbusters were all closing, and they were giving away all these movies for cheap. And I got Choke for like $1. I got Moon for like $1, and I was like, okay, let's give these movies a shot. And they actually end up being like, why aren't more people seeing movies like this? But again, that's why it's good for us to see them.
Yeah, and that's why they are films that you probably slept on. It's a film that I definitely encourage people to check out and watch. Uh, it does have CGI in it, but just the Rockwell performance and even the Slimeball Kevin Spacey performance is very, very good. But Rockwell just steals the show, and like I could watch that dude do a monologue on anything. Just,
Well,
just
yeah.
keep me
I
interested.
mean, I remember being like 9 or 10 and first watching Funhouse, and then going and realizing later that he was
Clown House?
actually Clown House, and he was actually Clown House. He was actually the oldest brother in that. You know what I mean? That was like,
Randy.
whoa.
Yeah, me and my brother loved that film. We didn't bring it up too much on here because Victor Salva's a piece of trash, but uh, he I do love his role in that film. He's hilarious. I'm gonna break your face. Me and my brother always quote like the shit he says, which is really funny. But yeah, he great
I guess
actor.
I should tell you, real quick, I was walking out of a restaurant recently, and this little old guy was like, because the restaurant was playing Jeepers Creepers over the stereo, and the old guy, when we got in the parking lot, was like, Creepers, and I was like, where'd you get them peepers? He's like, that song's old. How do you know it? I'm like, you're only 26, man. And then he laughed. But again, Victor is not a good person.
No, he's not. But Sam Rockwell is awesome.
Very
If you haven't seen this film, definitely check it out. Moon is definitely worth the watch. Uh, I actually had to buy it, but you can also see it as well. It's on Amazon for I think $13.89. The DVD is there. If you want to watch it, check it out there. Definitely worth the purchase. I had to order it actually to have it come in. So that's how I watched it.
awesome.
Um, But yeah, check out Moon. But let's move on, my friend.
Something big is definitely going down in this house. This run-down, rubble-filled house. With its weed patch yard and cat box that never gets emptied. What a waste of a truly good house. So much could be done with it.
2006, A Scanner Darkly, directed by Richard Linklater, who did Blue Moon, Hitman, Everybody Wants Some, Boyhood, and Before Midnight. The film stars Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Robert Downey Jr., Rory Cochrane, and Woody Harrelson, and a budget of $8.7 million and a box office of 7.6. This film drew me in just on the way it looks. It's shot kind of like a pop artist kind of way, where it's kind of animated, but it's not animated. And it has like some awesome actors in it with Keanu Reeves and Robert Downey Jr., Rory Cochrane, and then Woody Harrelson, who plays a smaller role. But it was, the animation of the film was just awesome. And when reading about it, it took 23 days to film, and the animation took 18 months to complete, which is crazy. But has a really, really interesting story as him being a cop who kind of like puts himself under a disguise, which is basically like a mismatch of things like to making sure he's not known to the people that he's arresting. And he's basically just finding out, going around solving like a crime. But it's in the future, and which is a way that it fits into the sci-fi aspect. Just a great story. Like I said, the characters feed off each other, and Linklater is actually underrated as Brian says. Great film. It's visually pleasing, and I do like Keanu's monologues through most of the film. What do you think about this one, Tom?
I miss the days where I just had enough money to randomly buy DVDs because the box and the actors look cool. This was one of them, and again, awesome movie. I like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in this movie. I think he's awesome in it. As stated, Linklater, he's excellent in anything that he's a part of. He's always trying to stretch the boundaries in his filming style. Like we discussed with like Danny Boyle and directors like that. This movie does a good job doing that. I mean, Keanu, sign me up.
Yeah, and the plot line is really interesting. It's basically the world's addicted to drugs, and he's going undercover to get into that world to try, and he becomes addicted himself. And it's crazy that I think 20% of the population's addicted, which just shows it's crazy that the world has kind of gone down that zone. So it has like a post-apocalyptic kind of vibes to it, but it also makes me laugh that it's about drugs and Robert Downey Jr.'s in the film. Which we know his history. But Rory Cochrane, another person that doesn't get his flowers as a great character actor, and he's in this film. He's also from the CSI Miami fame that people know him from, but he's also, in a bunch of movies. We talked about him in that horrible movie with Jared Leto, The Outsider, and he's also in Public Enemies with Johnny Depp.
He's awesome in Black Mass.
Yeah, Black Mass. He's in Black Mass. He's a phenomenal actor. Just doesn't get enough credit in what he does. He Dazed and Confused. He's in Empire Records. He does like a lot of like side roles, but excellent character actor. But the cast for this makes this film so great. The way it looks makes it look so great. This shot you have of Woody Harrelson, his hair is ridiculous.
Oh, it is.
But I loved this film a lot.
It's cool because again, it's different. There's a lot of movies that are a lot alike. This movie, I don't know if there's anything else like it. It's not like they made other movies that were filmed like this after it. It's a one of its kind.
Yeah, it's like a graphic novel that's live action with great actors. It's beautifully shot. Like that's what drew me into it. Like it reminds you of like a PC game. But I don't know. It's like that's what drew me, and that's surprising to me. It didn't really make that much money at the theaters. It made actually less than what it was budgeted for, but it's become a kind of a cult classic now in the terms of the sci-fi community and the crime genre. So if you haven't seen this one, definitely check this one out. I believe you can watch it on Amazon. I actually own this movie, so I didn't have to watch it on. I had to do the old-fashioned way and watch it via the DVD, which probably is my favorite way sometimes to watch because of the special bonus features, you know. But yeah, you can watch it on Amazon. It's actually free right now on Tubi, so you can watch it there as well. But Tone, let's get into your next film, my friend.
The issue isn't whether you're paranoid, Lenny. I mean, look at this shit. The issue is whether you're paranoid enough.
1995's Strange Days, directed by Catherine Bigelow, who did The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Near Dark, Detroit, and Point Break. The film stars Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, Tom Sizemore, and Juliette Lewis. It had a budget of $42 million and a box office of $7.9 million. Tone, tell us about Strange Days.
Again, another movie that when it was released, it was going to be like this huge thing, and it wasn't as obviously as huge as they thought it was going to be. But again, Ralph Fiennes stars in it, Juliette Lewis. It's really cool because, like, when you think of Ralph Fiennes, you don't think of this movie at all. I don't know too many people who do, but the idea of Y2K was coming along, and just the whole idea of all of that is really in this movie. The way Catherine Bigelow shoots the scenes. She's a great director. Obviously, you mentioned Hurt Locker. She is earlier. We talked about Point Break. She's the director of that. So again, really enjoyed that. Angela Bassett does a good job in the movie. It's pretty much again just a visual for the eyes, really.
Yeah, good concept too. It's about like emotions, selling emotions of virtual reality, like trips. Kind of reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk without the chips going into your head. But Ralph Fiennes plays like a guy that's basically selling like illegal things. Kind of has a futuristic, very, very well shot. Catherine Bigelow has a style where she makes her films interesting in terms of her scenery and her cinematography. She has great cinematographers, and her scenes are set up so nicely. Ralph Fiennes is awesome in it. And of course, anything by Catherine Bigelow, I love. Near Dark is one of our favorite films. Mailman Jack's one of his favorite films, and this one, is very, very done very, very well.
A study, just really a study could be done at like who goes out to the movie theaters, why they go out to the movie theaters. I know they've been done before, but I was just reading one today of like how Blumhouse, they had their last 3 pictures have been flops. Megan 2.0 was a flop. This movie by your description, it was a flop. But like when you watch this visually now, you're like telling yourself like maybe there was just other stuff out at the box office. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe it just wasn't released at the right time. That also leads to why sometimes movies could not do as good.
Yeah, I think promotion really hurt this film. Brian mentions in the comments, I've never seen this, but a hell of a cast. Yeah, Michael Wincott's in this film. For those who don't know Michael Wincott, he's top dollar in The Crow. He has that gravelly voice. He's also in the Nope. He plays the director for more recent people that have of his work. Great actor. But there were multiple actors considered for Larry Nero, who Ralph Fiennes' character is, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered, Denzel, Tom Cruise, Nicolas Cage, and John Travolta. I think Ralph Fiennes kind of was a perfect fit for it. I think it'd just been different movies if Arnold and Denzel were in it. Now Fiennes' performance.
Since you brought his name up, we didn't pick him for tonight, but around the same time, I remember seeing at the movie theater is the Denzel sci-fi film Virtuosity, which maybe Denzel could have did a little bit better. This is a better movie than Virtuosity is, even though Russell Crowe is in Virtuosity. But it's also cool, though, again, when you look as an actor and you go, oh, a Schindler's List, Strange Days, like that's a really cool, and then you got Voldemort, and you got cool performance by him in this movie.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is the film's set in like 1999. That distant future of 1999. That's what always makes me laugh too, because I think Demolition Man was like set in '97 or something like that. Which like we're gonna have all these, desolate wastelands. But yeah, this movie is just it gets passed on because nobody really talks about it. And that's what we're trying to do with this podcast to get you guys interested in films like this. Uh, Great, like I said, it has a great plot of illegal sale of virtual reality like recordings that allow users to experience the emotions of past experience of others. So you're basically like indulging on people's past experience that they like, which I think is a kind of a cool concept. And it kind of plays off that, and you have all these wacky things that happen, but it's beautifully shot. Catherine Bigelow, like I said, has a great knack for getting the viewer intrigued and encased in her films. And it's just the cast just blows it out of the water. Sometimes you can have a great cast and horrible dialogue and horrible plot. This film isn't that. It just didn't get enough love or publicity to make it out to the public, and that's what we're trying to do by getting you guys to check it out if you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to get into this movie. Another way is the music. Music's great for the
Mhm.
movie. You looking for a digital Escape Tricky is on the soundtrack, Lords of Acid. It is a techno dream, really, honestly. And it was actually not that bad of a soundtrack when it was released. I remember it getting some play.
Yeah, and there's actually, I believe, one of the thrasher bands are in this film, isn't there? Like they perform like one of the big thrasher band Testament.
Yeah,
Testament
Testament.
plays. I forget their name. I had to look it up. Testament plays at the New Year's party.
Yes, they
And
sure do.
they're the pioneer of thrash metal, one of the pioneers.
They
So
are.
it's got some decent music in it. Uh, so if you're interested in something like this is another good film to check out. You can actually watch this on Hulu. If you have a subscription there, you can watch on there, and of course, you can buy from Amazon the DVD. But you have to look for it. But it is on Hulu. That's where I had to watch it.
Very cool.
So, Brian, you're hilarious. But let's get into our next one, my friend.
Kid, just like an animal, but you looked at me. Your hair stuck to half your face, just one eye looking at me. I could see. Like seeing it happen on the TV. The bad version of your life, like a vision. I could see how you'd turn bad. So I changed it. I cleaned you up and put a gun in your hand.
2012's Looper, directed by Rian Johnson, who also directed Knives Out, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, The Brothers Bloom, Glass Onion, and Brick. The film stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Bruce Willis, Emily Blunt, Paul Dano, and Jeff Daniels. It had a budget of $30 million and a box office of 176. So finally, we have a film that made some money, Tom. This film I really, really enjoy because, in my opinion, this is Bruce Willis's last good movie. Before he started doing all the stuff he was doing after this. But I love the concept that you're basically a person that is an assassin that is killing people sent from the future, and you're paid in silver, your weight in silver, or their weight in silver. And basically, they're people that are criminals in the future. They're sending them back to the past to kill them off. And at the end, you're basically going to close your loop because they're going to send you from the future in the past. And once you kill yourself there, you're basically free to go do whatever you want. And it's basically ran by this person called the Rainmaker, who's really mysterious. You have Bruce Willis, who plays the older version of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, whose family is killed. His wife is killed by the Rainmaker's people, so he goes back in time, gets away from his assassin, who is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and tries to prevent his family getting killed. While Joseph Gordon-Levitt meets this woman and her child who has all these psychological problems. A lot of sci-fi stuff's going on. Great character arc. A lot of characters that are kind of annoying, like Paul Dano's character is annoying in here. What's the kid? The kid they call him that's like wants to be a cowboy. They talk shit to with a big ass pistol. But Jeff Daniels does a great job in this film. Yes, Sam, Space Jam is considered sci-fi. Hello. But yeah, Cop Out is Bruce Willis's best movie compared to this is the second one, according to Brian. But I love the concept of it. I love the style that it's shot. I love this is Bruce Willis's like finest film 13 years ago, and probably his last one in my opinion. But what do you think about it, Tom?
Oh, awesome movie. Awesome movie. If you haven't seen the Death Wish remake, ridiculous, not good, but still worth watching. It's after this, but definitely Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I think, is a pretty good actor. Him and Jeff Daniels is in another movie together called The Lookout. Just that scene you played at the beginning there, they do a good job acting together. Rian Johnson's a good director, again. Wasn't a fan of that Star Wars movie that you mentioned, but this movie does a good job showing a lot of the just a really cool story too. The way they make Gordon-Levitt look like Bruce Willis in some scenes, kind of like in the face, like a younger version. Just the technology they used was kind of like the direct opposite, as we said earlier, of dated. This movie still looks good now. I watched it this week. Very exciting.
So I just happened to look at Bruce Willis's filmography while you were talking, right?
Uh-huh.
So this is on IMDb. So this film, IMDb got a 7.4, which is Looper. His next film got a 5.6, 5.2, 5.7, 6.6, which is Red 2. Sin City, which is a 6.5, that's the second sequel. The 4.6, 4.2, 5.5, 4.1, 4.6, 5.5. Split, because he's uncredited. 5.3, 5.0, 5.3, 6.3 in Death Wish, 4.3, 3.2, 6.6 in Glass,
Oh,
6.5 in Lego Movie, Motherless Brooklyn, never seen it, 6.8, 6.1 in Two Firms, 3.7, 4.0, 4.0, 3.1. A short, Die Hard is Back, got a 7, but that's a short. A Breach got 2.9, 2.5, 4.6, 3.4, 3.0, 3.0, 3.6, 3.3, 3.4, 3.9, 3.5, 3.0, 4.3, 3.8, 4.5, 3.5, 3.7, 3.8, 3.7, 4.0, 3.4, 3.3. That's the
well, sadly, those are what's called like, because they said it. They said like he had to wear like a little earpiece and they had to like read the lines like to him from like off set so he could like say them. If you get an opportunity though, I'll have to rewatch it, but I think he is pretty good in Motherless Brooklyn. That's directed by Edward Norton. So you could see there though, he's been giving a chance by Edward Norton to get that.
And Gordo comes in and says pi 3.14. Like, it's just horrible that he had all those movies in the threes. Like, Jesus, man.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. But if you haven't seen this film, you can definitely watch it. It's definitely worth the watch on Paramount. If you have the Paramount channel on Prime. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, another actor that doesn't get enough credit in his roles. A lot of his independent films are good, like Hesher.
Hesher's great.
If you ever seen that film, Hesher is really good. He takes a lot of outside of the box roles. And it's kind of crazy because he's from like Angels in the Outfield.
He's in Brick, right?
Yes, I think he is.
Yeah, he is. He's the star of Brick. That's a pretty good little murder mystery movie right there.
Mm-hmm. He's actually in a film too called Greedy People, I believe, which is about like it's a comedy, but about sheriffs who kind of cover up a murder. Which it came out on Netflix. It's a pretty decent film. 500 Days of Summer is a good film with him. Inception, of course. 50-50, another great film with him in it. He does a lot of like cool stuff. Manic. You ever seen Manic? That's another good one with him in it.
Oh yeah.
The Juror, Sweet Jane. Those are, and then you have films like Don Juan. I mean, everybody has
every actor. I mean, you just mentioned Bruce Willis is one of the greatest action stars of all time. Listen to all those threes.
Yeah, Don Juan, man. 6.5 though. It's still higher than Bruce Willis's films. But yeah, check out this one if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend it. They play very, very well off each other. Jeff Daniels does a great job as the kind of the leader of the outfit. It's kind of like a gangster / sci-fi film. and
Cool.
it's got a good plot, good premise, and it keeps you engaged.
Excellent pick.
Okay, thank you, my friend. But
You're
let's go on to your next one.
Andy! You goonie!
That wasn't the clip.
Damn. I you know what? I actually said that earlier because my neighbor's Andy.
Uh-huh.
He's not a nice man, so I just,
Oh, he's a goonie.
he is a goonie.
But here's the real clip.
See, an ordinary person spends his life avoiding tense situations. Repo Man spends his life getting into tense situations.
1984's Repo Man, directed by Alex Cox, who did a film called Repo Chick,
Ooh.
Three Businessmen, Highway Patrolman, Walker, and Sid and Nancy. I just love the fact that his films had to do with chick or man at the end. It stars Emilio Estevez, Harry Dean Stanton, Tracy Walker, and Olivia Barish. Barish. Is it Barish or Barish?
Bearish? We'll go with bearish.
Yeah, go Barish. Okay. Has a budget of 1.5 million and a whopping box office of 130K. Tone, tell me why you picked this one, my man.
Definition of cult classic. This movie is Harry Dean Stanton is awesome in this movie. Harry Dean Stanton is just awesome in general. Harry Dean Stanton just looks like he walked out of a bar and he smells like cigarettes, like in every role. And Harry Dean Stanton, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, he lived into his 90s. I mean, that guy, he was great on Big Love, even towards the end of his career. I mean, that guy was pretty. I always call him a Katie, my Pretty in Pink dad, because he's her dad in Pretty in Pink. But in this movie, though, when I think of Emilio Estevez, this is one of the movies that I think about because he's actually awesome in this movie. I remember I befriended some friends in high school who thought they were punk rockers. So when I went over to their house one time, they were like watching this movie, and like I was like, "What is this?" And the way they were like explaining to me, they're like, "Yeah, the grocery store doesn't have any labels on it because they don't like." It was like just all this like punk type of stuff, and the soundtrack, awesome soundtrack. So all is coming together, and to be fair, just the real cool aspect of just what is in that trunk, the green light shining, and just what is a Repo Man. It sounded kind of pretty cool to me. So I was like, sign me up. And every time I watch this movie, I still have the DVD. I think it's awesome. Underground. I didn't realize it made that less of money. I can't believe I never looked at this one.
Yeah, when I was doing research, I was laughing because I'm like, holy smokes, 130K. But this film is definitely out there. You know what's in the trunk. People are turning into like melting, and it's weird, man. Like 80s graphics galore is straight up an 80s sci-fi. I remember the first time I watched this, and I was just like, what the hell did I just watch? This is me as a teenager too, like looking at this, like, what the hell is this? It's a film that I really can't explain. You just have to see it.
The director that you were mentioning his other movies, I mean, besides all those other movies, I mean, Sid and Nancy's the only other one that I'm familiar with to the point of seeing it. And it's what's the word I'm looking for? But like, you know, this was the 80s. I mean, this was, you know what I mean? This is the 80s, you know what I mean? Like, to be fair, to be glad that a movie like this, they never give anyone movies like this to make anymore. You know what I mean? You don't get to make cool movies like this or Men at Work or Maximum Overdrive. I mean, that just does not happen anymore, you know? And the whole movie, you know, he is recruited by, you know, a car repo company, you know, and he gets caught, you know, trying to get the Chevy Malibu that is connected to aliens. I mean, if that's not just a real out there plot, you know, you go and you say to yourself, you know, that's crazy though. But Iggy Pop, you know, when he's involved, you know, you got to say to yourself, that's awesome. You have Black Flag, Circle Jerk, Suicidal Tendencies, you know, just an awesome soundtrack. And honestly, it also it is nominated in the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs. So it's not like it is ignored all the way, but if you're looking for a cool 80s movie with some cool like Atari like 80s graphics, it's got it.
Before we go into, I was gonna say, Brian S says, "Men at Work." You ever heard of who
No.
was supposed to be in the remake of that? Hulk Hogan and
This
Randy
is real
Savage.
true. That can't be
If
true.
that is true, I'm pretty sure Randy Savage would have punched Hulk Hogan in the face during the movie. But there's two things about this film that really cracked me up, and they have to do with the people who were in it. Emilio Estevez's name in his film is Otto Maddox, which always made me laugh. Then there's a guy named Duke that's in this film.
Yep.
And the actor who plays him is named Dick Rude. which when I remember seeing this credits, I was like, Dick Rude. It was just something that made me laugh as a kid. It still makes me laugh today. This film is completely out there. It's about Repo Man. You don't know what kind of is a Repo Man. It's an alien Repo Man. Like it's just random. Like I said, I can't describe it in words. You just have to watch the film. It's a comedy sci-fi film. It's 80s galore, and I love it. I know you love it. It's just one of those films that just like, yeah, it's they don't get made like this. Like there's those horrible films that get made today, but it's not like it's supposed to be bad but good. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's almost like back then they stumbled upon awesomeness.
Mhm.
Like, like I talked about that movie before on here, Buckaroo Banzai and the Fifth Dimension. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man, just that title would never get past anybody these days. But back then they're like, to be fair, they probably did a lot of drugs and they were like, all right, let's go with it. Let's see what happens. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I mean, I can't. Today is the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. You can't say that wasn't like a crazy sci-fi idea.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So like some go in one way, some become campy. Like that's what's cool about sci-fi. There's just so much to it.
Yeah, and the style of making films, like everybody talks about the art now. I think I heard more people, because believe it or not, I do listen to other podcasts, film podcasts from people, and they always talk about the art of film and like how it's like the movie I just won, Nora. Oh, the art, and I'm like, art's good, but you kind of have some films like this come out too to kind of mix in there, because stuff like this is just fun. Like it's just I don't need an artsy art film all the time. I need like the film that's enjoyable and just fucking wacky.
Well,
And
that's why like sometimes like Tim Burton, like this, it's like a different kind of art. It's like an out there. It's like Devo in the music world. It's like, wow, I like this because it's just that out there.
Yeah, and this film was really fucking out there. I highly recommend you see Repo Man. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $4 if you want to see it. Definitely. I think we had not Tony. I still want to say Tony. We had Johnny on when we did the 80s films with him, and we talked about this film, and he's like, I've never heard of it in my life. So it's a film that a lot of people haven't heard of, but it's a film that you definitely should watch from the 80s. So check out Repo Man if you haven't. It's one of the few films that actually the end credits scroll downward instead of upward.
That is true. I never really thought of that. That is true.
Yeah. So for those who are listening on the podcast version, if you want, check out the YouTube version of Statistic Penguin Studios. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Cheap plug there. But for the next two films, I'm actually going to play a video clip because I think a video clip actually is better to represent our next two films. So we're going to start off with our next one with this.
Faster.
1992's Split Second, directed by Tony Malum, who also did White Rock, The Journal of a Contract Killer, and The Riddle of Sands. The film stars Rutger Hauer, Kim Cattrall, Alastair Duncan, and Michael J. Pollard. But there's also Pete Postlethwaite is in this film, and he plays an asshole, which is great. Had a budget of $7 million and a box office of 5.4. Now, by any means, is this film good? It's not an Oscar winner. It's interesting as hell because the concept is basically, it reminds me of a video game. And when I first saw it, it reminded me of a video game because you're basically as a detective trying to find an alien killer and the alien's basically biting people's body parts up. He's also psychic. He's connected to the detective in some psychic way where he can feel him. I love the way it's shot where the alien, like, you don't see him, you just see like the camera moving, which to me is really, really done very well for a low budget film. Yes, 7 million is kind of high, but it's a low budget film. I like the greenness of the film. I love Rutger Hauer. Hobo with a Shotgun, as ridiculous as it is like, graphic and artistic. When we talk about art, this film is like one of those B horror movies, sci-fi movies that doesn't get enough talked about. And Rutger Hauer can play those eccentric characters. And this film, he's eccentric as fuck. And also Kim Cattrall's in it. So Gracie Law, and everybody wants to know what the hell Gracie Law is doing in here. He's in this film. And man, Kim Cattrall was smoking back then. I'm not gonna lie. But this film is this one of those films that get talked about enough that has an alien for a killer, and the alien kind of reminds you of the alien that is xenomorphs, but a more creepier xenomorph. And Rutger Hauer has those cool sunglasses on. What do you think about this one, Tom?
Again, back 9-10 years old, it was with Rutger Hauer. It was this movie, and there was this other one that I got on DVD around here called Blind Fury. I would watch these movies, and the third one was, and you brought it to light with your amazing article, was I Come in Peace. These three movies were like a definition for me that, like, even when you brought up I Come in Peace, I thought of Split Second. I thought of Blind Fury, because this is just like an early 90s, the box at the video store. I could still remember him with the gun and the aliens like creeping over behind him, because it looks so much like a xenomorph that I was like, okay, this is like aliens, and my dad watched it. It was a cool movie. Is it as good as Aliens? No. But as you stated, when Rutger Hauer is awesome, he's kind of like a Van Damme of his time too. Put him in anything and sign me up, because it's going to be cool. And this one is like that.
Yeah, and one thing spawned out of this. The film spawned the tongue-in-cheek Rutger Hauer diet, which is his on-set routine of surviving on coffee, chocolate, and anxiety. If you watch this film, he drinks a shitload of coffee with a lot of sugar.
He does.
He has a gigantic gun, and it's like a paintball gun in real life, but it's a massive, like, ridiculous gun he has. The crazy thing is, Tom, I just looked at this right now. Despite a good word of mouth and aggressive ad campaign, the film bombed in the U.S. box office as it opened during the weekend of the 1992 Los Angeles riots. What a horrible time to open. But yeah, if you haven't seen this one, check this one out. It is definitely worth the watch. For you like the campiness sci-fi film and you love Rutger Hauer, you'll love this film. I love him since Blade Runner. So anything he's in, is great. He's been in like top big films, like Batman Begins, and he's in these B movies, which I think shows how a versatile actor he is. And he takes all the weird roles. He's kind of him and Christopher Walken have a lot of similarities, and they play some random roles that just get the viewer intrigued to watch. And what can go wrong with a alien that's a serial killer?
For a while, like back when they were selling DVDs to like at Best Buy, you could find like this movie on like those like 8 movies for like $3, like DVDs, and I'd be like, why is this on there? Because this is just a classic, man. So I'm glad you brought it back up.
Yeah, and actually, you can watch this for free on Prime Video if you have Prime, and you can watch it on Peacock for free. It's part of that subscription as well if you have Peacock. Or if you want to just watch it on Tubi, you can watch it there with commercials. But I highly recommend watching in the uncensored version. The alien looks pretty cool, man. Like its mouth with the giant teeth and shit. Like it was pretty creepy when I was a kid. I was watching like, oh my god, it seems pretty scary.
Look, you said the camera idea was a good idea too, like to use it as as opposed to as like it's like coming at him. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and they have the character of the rat catcher, which is Michael J. Pollard. He plays a role.
Oh yeah,
and he's Owen in Tango and Cash.
Oh, Michael J.
And he's also Herman in Scrooge. You ever seen Scrooge?
Oh, yeah.
He's in so many movies as like background characters.
Mhm.
Like you've seen that guy somewhere, and when I see him every time, like, holy shit, it's the guy from Split Second. That's where I know him from. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
it's tough right now because these is usually where I wanna dive for my phone and just start naming cool Michael J. Pollard films. I'm like, "Well, we're not," I don't wanna do that for every awesome actor, and he's one of them, He's, again, like a Rutger where you just throw him in there, and let's see what Michael J. Pollard could do.
Yeah, but
I
definitely check
believe
this
he's in
out.
the original he's, like, their helper in the original, what was that? Bonnie and Clyde with Gene
Yeah,
Hackman, and, yeah, he's awesome, man.
it's like his big role, the Bonnie and Clyde one.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It is on Prime for free and Peacock for free. Definitely worth the watch. It's just eccentric, man. And Rucker Hauer is the best at making stuff crazy, weird, good. But with that tone, let's move on to the next video clip we're gonna play, and this one's an oldie but a goodie. The Thing from Another World, released in 1951. Yes, we're going back that far, ladies and gentlemen. Directed by Christian Niebe and Howard Hanks, who directed films such as El Fuego, Baca, Six Gun Law, Hell on Devil's Island, Red River, El Dorado, Rio Bravo, and To Have and Have Not. The film stars Kenneth Tobey, Margaret Sheridan, and James Arness. It had a budget of 1.6 million. I couldn't find anything for the box office on this one. But Tone, tell us why you picked this one.
Well, it's always cool to find out that one of your favorite movies, came from somewhere else. So when I found out that the John Carpenter's The Thing was somewhat of a remake of the original, I had to dive in. I didn't have to go far because this was one of my father's favorite movies. As you always talk about your mom loving horror movies, my dad was a huge sci-fi guy, and like all these cool old sci-fi movies from the 50s, we can do lots of shows on these because even going through these, it's like, what do I pick over here? Earth versus Flying Saucers or The Thing, from another world, because they're so cool. Especially when you can go back into that time period and really put empathy into the situation of just in that scene that you just showed. Honestly, how cool that looks for the 1950s. It's awesome. What I like about this movie is in the John Carpenter version, the creature is creepy as hell and gooey, and he changes life forms. In this one, I always thought was cool because like the way I saw him, or like my dad explained, he's like he looks more like a Frankenstein type of cool monster, which was cool too. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm not somebody who's like, oh, it isn't as cool as the one that's in the 1980s version. You got to take it for what it was, for the time period of what it was, and this movie does a really, really good job of that.
Yeah, it's inspired some of the greatest horror directors of all time. Of course, we talked about John Carpenter being inspired by it, but you also have Ridley Scott, another sci-fi person, Toby Hooper, who also did supposedly Poltergeist, but we all know Steven Spielberg did it. And John Frankenheimer actually was inspired by this film. There's a lot of scenes from this film, especially when I just played that, are parodied or played homage to in a lot of horror films. You want to stick with Carpenter when Michael Myers is actually on fire walking. That's kind of like a tribute to this film as well. When he's walking through the fire, when they throw the gasoline on him. The crazy thing I found about this film is that, James Arness, who plays the Thing, he was not happy with his role. He skipped the premiere. He said his costume made him look like an orange carrot, which was like a running joke within the, studio and on production. But this film was like to capitalize on like the Cold War paranormal, the UFO, hysteria, and it's like it started the quote, "Keep watching the skies." The final line of the film, "Keep watching the skies," and it's still like people still watch the skies now. And what if something came down from another world? And it just inspired so many future. The 50s was a great time for sci-fi B movies about aliens, 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 aliens. And this is one of those films that, although it wasn't a big time moneymaker, inspired horror and sci-fi in the future. Like I think if we don't have this film, we don't have Alien. We obviously don't have the thing from the 80s. You know, we don't have that concept of how to shoot a desolate, isolated area when something's searching for you. I mean, who knows? It could have inspired Predator in some way of, you know, the you could pull like attributes from this film for that. It just has so many good things going for it. It's one of those films that actually holds up to today. Like the special effects, there's there's all practical effects. I'm a huge fan of practical effects. You know, we just saw where he's on fire. It's creepy in certain ways, and I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it.
It's also really cool too to be able to, I mean, Carpenter in the 80s thing, there are some scenes from the original that not copied, but you can see the homage to the original. The scene where like the ice, it's like you know, it's shaped out of the ice. That's kind of like in the 80s version. You know, there's little homages to it, which, as you stated, you know, a lot of these cool sci-fi movies like this one, you know, we don't have these. We don't get, I mean, Spielberg made a whole movie over you know, War of the Worlds. That's, you know, I mean, if even someone like him took the source material from the 50s and made his own remake of it. So it's like, again, and that was, well, I'll give the greatest line my dad would say is he'd be like, "Why are they remaking all these stupid movies when they could go back to the 50s and remake The Crawling Eye?" And I go, "Because Dad, nobody, I don't think, is asking for The Crawling Eye." He's like, "Well, I am." But like that would literally be the conversations, because like you could look at some of these older movies like Fiend Without a Face and say, "Oh man, we could film a really cool movie." But now if we're talking that we couldn't make a Repo Man movie, you know, that's what's cool about this movie is that the 80s and that late 70s aliens, it opened the door by looking back at movies like this. I don't know if no offense, I don't know if a lot of movies are looking back. I don't know if Jurassic Rebirth is looking back at this one for anything. I don't even think they're looking back at the original one, but who knows?
Jurassic Park's becoming the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Seems
You know, by the way, did you know that Fast and the Furious was supposed to have a tie-in with Jurassic Park?
Oh God, no.
I'm dead serious. It was supposed to have a tie. There was talks about it being. Can you imagine Dom running away from a Tyrannosaurus Rex in one of those?
I don't want to, because he just said that Paul Walker's coming back for the last one, and it's just like, come on, man, that's sci-fi right there. That's science fiction.
But if you want to watch the thing from another world, you can watch it for free on Tubi, the Roku channel if you have Roku, and Failsome, which is failsome.tv, FAWE It's also on Prime for $2.99, or you can buy it on DVD or Blu-ray, or you can go on the internets and you can watch it on YouTube. Disclaimer: you can watch it on YouTube, but yeah, you can watch it there for free. A film that inspired a lot of people. You know, it's a film that doesn't. I guess when people talk about the thing, they always talk about the 1980s version, and nobody really talks about the film that inspired the 1980s version. So check out what inspired other people's vision and view of the horror genre. And this film was the first adaptation of Who Goes There, later remade again by John Carpenter in its prequel in 2011, which I still haven't seen. I have to see the prequel.
You never seen the Thing prequel?
No, you know what? The Thing was one of the few movies that I'm like, fuck, they're making a thing. I don't know if I can watch this.
I will use the words of my father. That was actually really, really good. I mean, honestly, as far as a prequel could go, because I'll tell you, I'll just say one thing. It literally, the ending of it is like the literal last shot is the very first shot of the first movie. So it's like literally, and there's things like, especially you being a fan of the original, I'm curious to hear what you would think of it, because really, really check it out. Because honestly, I've only have good things to say about it. And honestly, as far as a prequel could go, I don't. Joel Edgerton's in it, really good actor. Honestly, give it a shot. Because it does it justice, I think. But it's hard though. I agree with your sentiment too. Like if I didn't grow up in a house where like the thing was like my dad's Bible, we wouldn't have went and seen it. But it was like, oh, you gotta go see it. And then if it would have sucked, it would have sucked. Like, but it wasn't bad. And actually the graphics that they used in it was pretty good. Pretty good.
My brother told me it was pretty decent, but like I said, I don't know. It's one of those films like
hard. It's hard.
I try to experience new stuff. I mean, I wouldn't even saw The Crow, the new one, but I just like stuff like The Thing. I'm like, oh man, I get worried.
The thing, and just real quick before going on, is like everything in the original in 80s thing, right? When they go back to that whole hut, everything that you see with your eyes when they go back there, that's what this movie is filling in for you. It's literally nothing more but what those guys saw right before they saw it. So it's not like it's like Doug and Johnny were just walking along the ice. It's like you already knew this story. You just didn't know how that story played out and how it got to where the dog was running there at the beginning of the last movie, which is kind of interesting. Again, because when the whole idea that this thing, like in this movie, is been in the ice for a while and then it thaws out. I mean, you ever think, is there anything out in the Antarctic now?
Oh, dude, they're like thawing out damn diseases that were like,
that's what I'm saying,
and like
crazy.
fucking bacteria, which I'm like, why? Of all, we're having AI robots taking over, playing soccer games, and like nobody's heard of Skynet. Like, and I'm in tech. Come on, man. But yeah, definitely check out The Thing from Another World. But moving on, Tone, to our last two.
Who are you?
Used to be a cop. At least in this life I was. They steal people's memories, Then they swap them around between us. I've seen them do it back and forth, till no one knows who they are anymore.
How do you know all this?
Once in a while, one of us wakes up while they're changing things. It's not supposed to happen, but it does. It happened to me. They'll come looking for you, Murdoch.
Dark City, released in 1998, directed by Alex Porras, who did The Crow, I, Robot, Knowing, and Gods of Egypt. It stars Rufus Sewell, Kiefer Sutherland, Jennifer Connelly, William Hurt, and Richard O'Brien. Had a budget of $27 million and made a box office of $14 million. If you guys are just tuning into this podcast and you know nothing about us, we love The Crow. Alex Proyas is his direction in The Crow, his scenery, his cinematography, his dark and gloomy atmosphere of that movie is this film times 20. It has a great story of a person waking up, not knowing who they are, not knowing like their wife, their family, like they feel like they don't belong. They're a cop. They're being framed for crimes. And they're trying to escape this city, a city that morphs, which I think is fucking phenomenal. Like the way Poyas makes the city morph, like it changes. You have these creepy people in, bald heads, white skin with black coats and trench coats and top hats and fedoras walking around. You have a cult vibe. It's very, very futuristic, but very creepy. You feel lost in this film. It was completely shot in sound stages in Sydney, Australia, which I think is kind of best for this film because of this, getting that proper atmosphere. I think could only really be done in a soundstage and not really in a real world, because there's not really many places that would look like this. But I love this film. It's a film that I, would always tell people to go see because it's not talked about a lot. It's one of Proyas's best films, if not his best film besides The Crow. And it's just one of those creepy films. It's not supposed to be a horror film. It's more of a thriller, sci-fi thriller. But it's got some weird stuff going on in it. And the scene here with Kiefer Sutherland and Rufus Sewell, and you have the people in the background. Like, what if you woke up in something like that, where somebody was just, and the clip I played of the cop telling him, "Oh, we're not supposed to wake up, but sometimes we do," and he's like, "You're trying to escape, but you can't." He goes, "But I know a way out," and then eventually he jumps into the train because basically he's saying death is the only way out of this. Like, how would you feel being stuck in there? And it's a film that really gives you those crazy little vibes, and I highly recommend you watch this one. What do you think about this one, Tone?
Of all the movies we're talking about tonight, this movie's probably the coolest. This movie is awesome. I wish I can get an old best friend of mine on the horn because he can tell you the story of how my dad borrowed his Corvette from his boss, and I didn't tell my best friend, and we were picking him up to go to the movies, and we picked him up in the Corvette, and we went like 100 miles an hour to the movie, and then we saw this movie, and it was just a great experience that you never forget, topped off by this awesome movie that's just, as you stated, everything that you stated about it. It's I wish there was more. Like, I wish there was more to this universe. Honestly, people may hate me for saying this because they probably have never even seen this movie, but I wish there was one Matrix and this movie got the deeper 4 movies, 5 movies, an expanded universe of what was, because the movie is very awesome and deep in a way that I really enjoy. Kiefer Sutherland, to see him in this, the way he acts, that's great. Rufus Sewell does a really, really good job. Up until this point, I think I had only seen him in A Knight's Tale. So to see him in this, did an awesome job. It's just a really great movie, and honestly, super underrated.
Definitely. Two things that stick out about this film is one of the characters' name is Mr. Hand. So shout out Mr. Hand. And he's played by Richard O'Brien, who plays one of the main characters in a Rocky Horror Picture Show. But you also have, Bruce Spence, who plays Mr. Wall. And Bruce Spence is actually in The Matrix as the train man, the train conductor. And he's also in one of my favorite movies, Shrimp on the Barbie, as the owner of the Mexican restaurant, which always cracks me up. But yeah, just there's so many cool things about this film. And speaking of the Matrix tone, like many of the sets, including the rooftop chase, were sold to the Matrix in 1999. So they did kind of pull this from this movie in terms of the way they shot it.
Cool.
The strangers, who are the actual, beings in this film, the scary people. It's just creepy how they tell people like to sleep. They don't sleep and they just not pass out. It's like I would love like a more of a backstory on them. Like I wish they, even now, like this, if they want to do remakes, they want to do prequels, do something here with, let Porras come out and then let him do his vision of Dark City. Let him give us more background on the strangers, or, I would love something like that.
We've talked about this before, and I think maybe this is even going to maybe just you'll maybe understand my point a little bit more when we were talking about the endings of movies, like the Mission Impossible, the first part. Like, I could sit here right now and tell you that I remember the ending of this movie just when I was sitting in the movie theater, because that's how awesome I thought it was when the lights cut. Like like the movie, like it opens up at the end. You know what I mean? And it's like it's cool to go into a movie theater and see something like that. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what's missing with a lot of movies, that when you go and see that, is it's either what I was reading from recently is that a lot of movies don't go into filming with a finished script anymore, which is stupid. And maybe that's how you can tell a lot of movies aren't as good. Where this movie, I mean, I thought the script was solid and just an all-around great movie.
Definitely. You can watch this film on Plex, Plex.tv, the Roku channel. You can watch it for free, or Tubi. You can also buy it on Prime. Now, I had to buy it on Prime because I thought I had a DVD, but I think I might have lost it, which is really, really horrible, because the DVD, the director's cut, is awesome, 1. And 2, Roger Ebert loved this film so much, he actually did the special DVD commentary for it in 1990. He called it the best film of 1998, by the way. But I remember hearing that and hearing him. So I love Roger Ebert. I mean, I don't always agree with him, but I just love his I love the fact that he was so immense in this film. Now, I'm pretty sure if I go back and look at the, I don't know if Gene was alive during this. He might have passed. No, I think he passed in 99. But if he was alive, he probably wouldn't have liked it because he didn't like The Crow. but like, you get a lot of influence in this film. Like, the director was inspired by Space Odyssey. He was inspired by Lawrence of Arabia. You get that like isolated feeling in this film with a lot of strange people, and in the dark. The not just because it's called Dark City, but the loss of light in the areas that you're in, like you feel isolated. Even though there's people around you, you're isolated. Like you feel like nobody wants to talk to you, like you're alone. and it could play on your psyche, and this
True.
film really does. I just love that aspect of it. Also, the soundtrack is pretty decent as well too.
Real good soundtrack. Real good soundtrack.
And Proyas has that gift going for him. He can play the soundtracks. Like, he knows how to get the soundtracks good for movies.
Well, I mean, even the score itself. Again, I wish more directors were around like this, like him.
Yeah, definitely. He hasn't done anything in a while. Like, I think Gods of Egypt was his last big film. I'm hoping I would love to see something with this. And you know what? If they did a HBO series of this, of like
That'd be
Dark City, I would watch the shit out of it, because
Oh,
that would give
that'd
him
be awesome.
dream reign.
That'd be
I need to
awesome.
do anything. But if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch this film. If you don't want to, these are all my this is my fifth pick. If all my picks you don't watch this film, like, this is my biggest recommendation I can give is this film to watch. But yeah, Dark City is a classic. But now we're gonna move on to Tone's last film, and this one cracked me up. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw you pick it.
Videodrome. What you see on that show, it's for real. It's not acting. It's snuff TV.
I don't believe it.
So, don't believe.
Why do it for real? It's easier and safer to fake it.
Because it has something that you don't have, Max. It has a philosophy. And that is what makes it dangerous.
1983's Videodrome, directed by David Cronenberg, who did The Dead Zone, Scanners, The Brood, Crash, and this is my two favorite films he did, the names of them anyway, Spider and The Fly. The film stars James Woods, Debbie Harry, Sonia Smits, Peter Dvorsky, and Leslie Carlson. Has a budget of $5.9 million and a box office of $2.1 million. Tone, tell us about Videodrome.
Oh, whoa. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be frankly honest with you. I mean, if you said Repo Man was really out there, I think Repo Man plays more like a Disney movie compared to Videodrome. Like, Videodrome is like, what the is going on? But I think it's awesome. I still to this day, where the first time I sat down and watched Videodrome, and it was over, I think I looked around. I think I was by myself too, and I was like, what the also really cool is I should have had him text me. I'll get it next time. But my buddy, not my buddy, my brother-in-law and my sister went to Seattle recently, and there was this. They went to some pop culture museum, and of course, my sister sent me. There was like the Videodrome TV, where like you could put your hands in it, like the movie or whatever. But really, guy comes across this videotape, okay, and pretty much changes his life. It's pretty much, again, this videotape is like a lot of these movies. What I like about it is that they use something and then they like as a metaphor. You know what I mean? They use the videotape is what they're using, but that's not really what they're trying to say. Okay, he is a CEO of a UHF channel, and pretty much he comes across this video tape, which has some snuff films on it. If you're not familiar what a snuff film is, it is like a urban legend type of movie that can contain a lot of different things. We've talked about what was it, 8mm? Those are like snuff films in that movie. But again, he watches it and he starts to have some complicated, intense hallucinations on the reality of his life, which just seem to be getting worse as the movie is going along, which is really kind of crazy. There is a lot of different themes going on in the movie that definitely is different. The human senses, the fascination of just a lot of different emotions like horror and sexuality and stuff like this. Also really crazy in the music department was that Korn lead singer Jonathan Davis signed a band along with Orgy called Videodrome. They only came out with one album, but they were named after this movie. But one of my favorites is the line, "Long live the new flesh." That's just David Cronenberg borders a line of horror, of sci-fi, of insanity, you know. This one is definitely a good look into that.
Definitely way the hell out there. Snuff film, and like it has like the trailer I always remember, you know, when they used to show it like on the movie channel or like Showtime, you know, when they used to have the big three movie channels as a kid, and they would show like the static or, you know, of it pushing forward, grabbing like I always remember that. And then the funny part is when doing research, the trailer was largely created using a Commodore 64 computer, which is funny. You have James Woods when James Woods wasn't crazy. It's out there, man. And then you have Blondie in the film.
She's crazy in the movie.
Yeah, she's like a sadomasochist in this film. It's fucking out there, man. Andy Warhol called this film the Clockwork Orange of the 80s. So if that doesn't give you kind of a
vibe.
A vibe about it, then I don't know what I can tell you, man. It's out there. It's another film that like I couldn't explain Repo Man in like words. This is another film you just have to watch it. It's worth the watch.
A lot of cool practical effects.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of really cool. David Cronenberg's he's got this movie that I caught on HBO called The Brood. Came out a couple of years before this. Creepy as hell. Like this guy can film some movies in a really creepy way.
Oh, definitely. David Cronenberg is excellent. He's actually he plays one of my favorite roles as a serial killer in Nightbreed.
Oh yeah, he's good in Nightbreed.
Which is based off Clive Barker's Cabal. I wish, you know, they would have expanded upon that because it would have been great to have a sequel. He plays the psychiatrist. But yeah, he had like, I mean, he fucking directed Scanners, dude. Scanners is known for this gigantic like brain just blowing up, and you know, the fly. Yeah, the fly. You have Dead Zone. The ice is about to freeze. You know, and like, and even though it's a Stephen King film, like he brought it to life on the big screen. Like he makes it his style of view of film. It's good.
Off topic on it's David Cronenberg, but in Dead Zone, Emilio Estevez's father as the president to be, when he's like, whenever I think of something going wrong with our president or something with like I think of that scene where he's like, push the button, push it. And they're like, oh, president, this isn't a good idea right now. We're gonna kill a bunch of people. He's like, just press it. Just a good director in this movie, Videodrome. You know, I never heard that description of the Clockwork Orange of the 80s, but I'm actually going to spend a whole next week. I'm going to spend my whole next week thinking about it. That's actually a pretty cool little description.
Yeah, that doesn't get you pumped for this film. I don't know what will. Definitely check out Videodrome. It's worth the watch. It's fucking way out there, man. I don't know how else to describe it, man. You can watch it on Amazon. You can rent it or buy it there. That's the only place you can stream it for right now, from what I see. But definitely check it out. It's not a kids movie, so watch this one by yourself, adults.
If you haven't noticed a trend here tonight, folks, is that all of these awesome movies that we've shared with you, they're so awesome that you got to really dig to find them, because that's how cool they are. Like they're not like just like, oh, they're on Disney Plus, the main movie when you go up there. Like you gotta and they're all worth it. Trust me.
Yeah, they are all worth it. These are gems that you did sleep on.
You want to invite me over? I'll bring them over and we'll watch them together. And then I'll stare at you when you don't like them. No, I'm just kidding.
Or he'll yell at the movie box and say, "Why aren't you good?
Why aren't you good?"
But that is our top 10 of the sci-fi gems you probably slept on, Tone. I really like this countdown because, like I said, we came up with films that are not really mentioned a lot. I like to throw out those gems that people don't know about. especially in our circles, not a lot of people are going to talk about Videodrome besides me and you because we're movie nerds. But in terms of like the casual moviegoer that's looking for something different, these are all films. If you like the sci-fi genre, you could check out, and everything offers something different. In terms of you got some horror there, you got some psychological stuff there, you got some batshit crazy stuff with Videodrome and Repo Man. Videodrome's more of a serious, Repo Man's more of a comedy. You can go back to the 50s and stuff like that. So we have things from all that, that can hit all those desires of what you want in a film that has sci-fi. So be sure to check out this list when I post it on the website tomorrow, so you can see which ones we were talking about. But definitely check them all out. Any final thoughts about this, Tom?
Went through a lot of awesome movies. Start with Dark City and work your way through the rest of the list because it's definitely awesome, man. If we missed one, share it with us. We love sci-fi. We love all kinds of movies.
Yeah, be sure to share with us at the with the YouTubes, in the comments, or on the TikToks when we post our little post there. But yeah, this was a good fun episode, and like I said, next week we are doing the Michael Madsen tribute show, so that'll be dedicated to him, and then we'll be moving on from there. We'll have our plans for the next episode. But before we get to the Sugar Baggy soundtrack pick of the week to close us out, again, thank you so much for watching, listening, viewing, hate watching, whatever you do. I appreciate it. It really, really means a lot. I know we were away for a little bit, but we came back. And we really appreciate you guys being patient with us. I released 2 videos during that time, both on the Young Guns series, Young Guns 1 and 2. Tony has been doing a great job with Adam on the James Bond series. He dropped 2 of those videos, and he also dropped a hookup on music. Tone, tell us about what that one was about today.
This weekend, Black Sabbath are having their final concert on Saturday. You can go ahead if you have the opportunity and get the pay-per-view. It's only $29. It comes with a poster and your own little ticket stub, but Metallica's playing, Pantera's playing. Jason Momoa, the actor, is hosting the whole entire shindig. It's supposed to be going to be pretty awesome. So we dig into one of my favorite bands a little bit there. We talk Foo Fighters dropped a new song this week. We also talk about the ridiculousness of Green Day called up someone on stage this week to do Time of Our Life. Instead, the fool started playing Oasis Wonderwall. So Billy Joe got mad and kicked him off the stage. So it makes you think, when people ask people to come up on the stage to do that, are they just blind faith that they're going to know how to play the song? Interesting stuff. So check out that episode.
That's great. I love that. This week I'll be releasing another video probably on Saturday, more Sopranos related. So check that out. Just a couple things going before we switch over. Lastly, if you like to do your own podcast, if you'd like to do videos and you have a hard time of doing shorts or TikTok videos, there's a awesome website called Obvious Clip that we actually use and I actually love. We are an affiliate with them, so if you use them, we don't get any. We just get a 25% commission if you sign up with them. No pressure, but if you like doing that stuff, it uses AI. It also has AI for B-roll and stuff like that. I'll drop the link here. We just get, for people who sign up for it, we get a commission. I personally use it, so I won't tell you a product that I don't use. I do use it for our stuff, and it helps me pump out the shorts quicker, along with StreamYard. The cool thing about Obvious Clip is that actually you can post to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, along with your YouTube. So it can post to all those things and give you titles and descriptions with keywords that can help you attract views. It's just a faster way of doing it. You can edit it to have the captions. You could have your any way you want to style in terms of you're going to have a split screen or a 4-person screen, whatever you want. You can use Obvious Clip for that. And finally, we don't usually get political here, but I have, with everything that's going on with the ICE deportations, I have, with the blessing of my great other penguins, have created some products for the Fuck ICE campaign, or the No Love for ICE campaign, which will basically, all benefits will go and proceeds will go to the National Immigration and Justice Center. I will drop the link here. We have shirts, we have also buttons, and we have koozies that are out there. I will show them on screen now so you can see them. They're at the Printify, Sadistic Penguin Printify. That's PRINTIFY.me. With Sadistic Penguins at the beginning. You can buy all our stuff there. All proceeds go to the NIJC, which is the National Immigration Justice Center. And it's for a limited time. So I believe it goes on for another 3 weeks. So we have had great orders from people, but if you want to support the NIJC, just buy here and help them out. Anything you want to plug, Tom, before we go into the soundtrack?
No, just keep checking out all our awesome stuff. Check out the cool articles that have been pumped out by our main man Cotton. He just put out a brand new awesome article that is really awesome about the failing movie theaters experience, which if I would agree 100% with him, especially with the ones that I've been going to lately. So again, check out those. They're always a good time.
Yeah, Cotton, I'm sorry, Cotton, like, I just had so much stuff to plug, but, that article just made me laugh because I can hear whenever I read Cotton or even your stuff, I hear your voice in my head while I'm reading it, so it just makes me laugh, and when he goes on rants,
the best.
it makes me it cracks me up because I can see him, like, yelling. But, yeah, check out Cotton's, article. He's been dropping some great stuff. Adam's been dropping some great stuff over at the AscendantPenguinStudios.com, so check us out there. But with further ado, let us pump in and transition into the Sugar Baggy soundtrack pick of the week.
The Sugar Baggy soundtrack pick of the week.
We can't promote your awesome stuff just enough, Jumper. So you did the amazing Young Gun 2 soundtrack. Since you've done that, and probably 17 months before that, my wife wants me to play Blaze of Glory on a daily basis before she goes to work. And I do it every single day. And it's just an awesome freaking song. The whole soundtrack's actually pretty good. I am not a huge, if you ask me what is the only band that I'm probably not a huge fan of, is probably Bon Jovi. That's about it. You know, just never really got into them. I did watch recently a documentary and about them, and it was interesting. But this soundtrack here, it's all Bon Jovi, okay? It's all John Bon Jovi. It's a solo record. It's his first solo record. It was released in August of 90. But what I found to be really cool by doing research is who some of the players were on this album is. Let me read you some of them. Elton John plays on a couple tracks. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers organist Benmont Tench plays on the whole album. Little Richard plays on a track. Ironically, on today's, I didn't mention it just a minute ago when I was talking on the hookup, but I talk about an artist named Aldo Nova on the hookup this week. Aldo Nova plays guitar on half of the tracks on the album. Jeff Beck plays on the album. Kenny Aronoff, amazing drummer, drums on the whole entire album. Bon Jovi had a hell of a backing help on this album, and it shows with great music. And that lead track, Blaze of Glory, I hated it the first 100 times I heard it because I had a friend who, when I would go to his house, you know, in 89 or 90, whenever, you know, right around this came out, he just kept playing the MTV music video, and he just kept playing Young Guns 2, and that's all he ever wanted to watch. Young Guns 2, Blaze of Glory, Young Guns 2, Blaze of Glory, and then he'd be like Jaws 4, Blaze of Glory, Jaws 4. It was just those three things all mixed up, and it was just like, Jesus Christ, man, can't we do something else? But now that I'm older, I really appreciate this song, and I appreciate this soundtrack, and I appreciate you for putting together an awesome double Young Guns features. Because just a minute ago when we were looking at Dark City, and I saw Kiefer on the screen, I imagine that Kiefer was in this movie. Like, they just took him and he was in this like this, but he's not. But a great soundtrack.
Yeah, I agree with you on Bon Jovi. I'm not the hugest fan of Bon Jovi. Uh, Randy Jackson was also on bass for the album. But like I even said in the video, Alan Silvestri, who does the score, like it's phenomenal. Like the score for the film Young Guns 2 is really, really good. It has a lot of guitar in there, with a lot of arrangements. The beginning of it, like I always there's a track called Guano City that they play, that has a great score with like a electric guitar in the middle of it, that I always loved from that film. But the music always stood out for me from the film. I think, like I said in my video review, the film kind of plays more into the myth and than it does the actual facts, which is great. Um, if you love Emilio as Billy, Young Guns 2 is for you. If you love more of a gritty Western, Young Guns 1 is probably for you. So you get like your mix and match there, whichever one you want. Both films that were like those campy, heroes of the 90s and late 80s. They have those two films. But yeah, great soundtrack tone. It's cracking me up that you picked this because we don't talk about what we're gonna pick for our movies of the week. Only he knows my movies because I send him the list so he can do the PowerPoint. But we don't talk about the soundtrack, and he never tells me his movies, which I like. So when I saw this, it cracked up. But yeah, I really appreciate the kind words, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No, great job. So if you haven't heard this one, check it out. Blaze of Glory, Billy Get Their Gun, Get Your Guns. Miracle, another great song off this album. I used to own this album. Guano City is actually at the end of this album too. With Alan Silvestri, he plays the score for it. But yeah, check it out. Great pick, Tone. I hope since I have a lot more time to be releasing more vids to review, and we got some things cooking in the going future of Sadistic Penguin Studios. But with that, my friend, that is our show. We are over the 2-hour mark, Cotton. So that is just all for you. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll be back next week for our Michael Madsen episode. So peace, love, and chicken grease.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the At the Show podcast, a Sadistic Penguin Studios production.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?